Hi guys, welcome to Multiverse. Before the daily reset actually starts, we should be able to take a look at one last layer. So here we're going to take a look at the tech layer. It's a really neat looking layer. I'm using it with at least a handful of my characters. I really like this layer. Basically, if you have a technological type of character that needs a layer that fits its look, this would be the layer for you. So again, you can see what the some of the amenities like the mailbox looks like. You can see the bank right there. So you can see the weird techno pattern on the columns, which is all kinds of awesome if you ask me. And also the patterns on the floor, even some of the patterns on certain walls. And there's those nice light on some of the columns. And I think this is one of those layers. Let's check to make sure. I mentioned that there were some layers where you cannot put some items on certain walls. Let's see if this is one of those. Yeah, so here you can see in this corridor here, unlike some of the other layers, we cannot put anything on the walls. So depending on the layer you want, on the layer you're using, and the kind of items you want to put in your layer, it may make a difference. It may influence the kind of layer you wanna use, depending on how you want to decorate them. Well, at the very least, you should be aware of the limitations you have with certain layers, so that you're not too disappointed when you buy them. So here you can see the mainframe, what it looks like. Let's go upstairs. I will show a bit some of the big items you can put in this layer. Again, you can see the broker here. I'm missing quite a few chairs for my round table. Oh well. So again, at the top floor, pretty much standard in most layers. And here you can see, I mentioned that in some of my other videos. Basically, you can see here there's no beam that's blocking your view. Here neither. So if you have a big item like the as you can see the Green Lantern Memorial statue, well, this is a good layer to use that item with. The same here. If you have a really big item like the Pink Lantern emblem or the Star Sapphire emblem, I should say, you can put those on the columns here. So depending on the items you have, you could decide to use this layer instead, and you can see what the teleporter looks like. But it's not all rainbow and sunshine. Like basically, I mentioned quite some time ago. Like you can see this little beam here. It pretty much restrict where you can put a big poster or a big portrait like this one. So I couldn't really put it much more to the left if I wanted to. Let's show it to you. So if I wanted to put the portrait a little more to the left, sadly that beam here pretty much prevents me from doing that. Or if I had an item that's a bit wider than the portrait, I just couldn't put it there. So there are some bases like that where you will have certain restrictions on certain walls that you don't have in other bases. But then again, it's different. Like in some bases, maybe you won't have the beam here, but you could have the beam right here that prevents you from putting those big items right there. So again, if you have some really big items like the Star Sapphire emblem or the Green Lantern Memorial statue, this is probably a layer that you could decide to use for that. And of course, there's the basement, like all the layers. So it's a fairly neat looking base. And again, I love the sort of techno weird patterns on the columns. But in some cases, it may make it a bit difficult to put items on those columns. And here you have the sparring target. So you can see some sort of a scientist in a lab coat. And basically the henchmen are pretty much the same. But again, I will make a video about the henchmen at some point when I get the chance. And let's go to my other lair. Why says you? You'll see in a bit. Basically, I didn't have, you may have noticed I didn't have my armories in my first lair. With this character, basically, I'm using the tech lair with both my bases. Oh, you can see 20 minutes to reset, so we'll try to hurry up a bit. So again, for a techno base, if you have a lot of techno type items, works really well in this base. And you can see what the armories actually look like in this base. So they're pretty neat looking. They're not as bulky as in some of the bases, but they're not also as small as some other bases. So I'd say these are pretty much mid-range in terms of size for the armories. So again, if you have a really big item like the time sphere, well, the fact that you don't have a beam here pretty much helps a bit. Although in this case, the beam would actually go through the time sphere. It wouldn't prevent you from putting the time sphere here. But it still would visually, it would be annoying a bit to see a beam going through the time sphere. So I'm kind of glad that we don't have a beam here. It allows us to put the time sphere here without anything to interfere with it. And here I've made myself some sort of hospital. Because of course, when you're in this case, it's when your super villains gets hurt, well, you have to send them somewhere to get better, or to get let's say, not so better. And again, of course, you have the basement. Usually, as a rule of thumb, that's where I'll put my crafting station and my R&D vendor. And of course, if you need some sort of warehouse type of thing with crates and all that good stuff, that's usually where it happens. And there's these neat little industrial lifts that I love those. At some point, when I first discovered those, I went a bit crazy and I purchased a handful of them, which is why in this base alone I have 3 of them. And I have a whole bunch of them in some of my league halls. I'll show them to you at some point. Of course, again, you can see here the teleporters. And I guess that's going to be pretty much it for the tech lair. Not techno, just tech. Tech. Again, at some point in time, I will make a video about the various henchmen, so you're going to be able to see what the actual henchman from the tech lair actually looks like. And that's pretty much it, guys. If you have any questions, suggestions, or anything else, feel free to ask so in the comment section down below. And I guess we're done for today. I guess I'll go play Destiny in a bit, since we're about to hit the daily reset. So that's pretty much it for now, guys. So as always, thanks for watching, and hopefully I'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye.